I'm Sherry Winston, and welcome to another edition of Uncorked. If you are new here, I'm truly glad to have you. And if you are returning, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And I hope to make the experience a pleasant one. Now, when I first started this channel, my whole goal in doing what I was doing was to pair a wine with a good book. I love wine. Pinot Noir is my favorite, and I love books. So I thought, what could be better? But then I started the channel, and I got on here yammering about the books. I got so excited, I completely forgot about the wine. I mean, I drank the wine, but I wasn't like trying new wines. I was just drinking wine that I knew. So tonight, I am trying a new wine. It's a 2024 Louis Jadot Beaujolais, and it is supposed to have rich, fruity flavors of raspberry, cherry, and pomegranate, and subtle floral notes, which is perfect for spring. So I've been letting it breathe, and I'm gonna taste it, and I'm gonna tell you what I think about it, because I've never had this wine before. So let's get a good pour. Okay. I'm gonna sit you right there. Don't you go anywhere. All right, so this is the 2024 Louis Jadot Beaujolais-Villages. Let's see. That is really good. Cheers. I hope that you are comfy and in your jammies, and you've got your feet up, and you are ready to talk about books and how you can read to become a better writer. Because that's what I do. I'm a writer. I write children's books. I'm on a quest to write my first adult mystery novel. And this is my journey. So as I said before, welcome. I feel so grateful to have you here. And let's get started. Now that we've popped the cork, let's talk about books. All right, now, thanks to several friends in my head, which are basically other book influencers on YouTube and BookTok and Instagram, I have been introduced to authors I'd never considered before. So all of the books that I am reviewing tonight are books that are by authors I've never read before. So just like the wine, I thought it was only appropriate if I'm going to drink a wine I never tasted before. I'm going to talk about books from authors I've never read before. Now, I'm going to tell you something. The first book on the list is called Jar of Hearts by Jennifer Hillier. Oh my God. I can only imagine that Jennifer spends a lot of time just in dark places. And I'm not necessarily talking about alleys, just the dark places in her mind. Okay. This book is truly a crazy, crazy ride. It starts out fast and brutal, and honey, it just gets darker and more brutal. Georgina Shaw and Angela Wong were best friends, but they were also best frenemies, on the cheerleading team. No matter how good Gio was, that's what they call Georgina. No matter how good she was at something, Angela was always a little bit better. And Angela was the kind of girl who every once in a while she liked to flex so that everybody knew she was the alpha dog. However, that all changed when when the two of them meet this bad boy in I think a convenience store parking lot or something like that. And he is drawn to Gio rather than Angela. And Angela takes the piss as the, I think that's how the Brits use that. She didn't like it. I'll say it that. I'll say it in good old-fashioned American English. She didn't like it. So there was some tug and pull, and Calvin just poured all of this attention on Geo that she never had gotten before. And so the relationship was pretty intense. But even so, they had not had actual sex. You know, they did stuff, but they'd never had sex. So Geo thought, you know, oh, I'm so grateful that he's willing to wait. And, you know, it was just that whole thing. Well, one night something happens and the bottom falls out of Geo's world. Angela goes missing, and there are rumors that Geo is to blame. She has a terrible time at school. She gets pretty much iced out of every place. Nobody understands how the two of them were together, meaning Angie and Geo, and then Angie just disappears and nobody knows what happens. So fast forward 14 years, and there's been a serial killer on the loose in their town. Now, the serial killer has a very distinct style, I will say, of leaving his victims. And when Angela's body is discovered basically across the street from Georgina's house, all hell breaks loose again. At that point, Georgina has moved on with her life. She's gone to college. She is working in a high-powered job. She is engaged to the CEO. I mean, you know, she has really made a life for herself. And it all comes tumbling down after Angela's body is discovered. So the story goes back and forth in time, giving us little by little of what happened the night Angela disappeared. And at the same time, there is a mounting sense of dread because Calvin is still killing people. He's still out there. And Angela is terrified that one day she's going to wake up. I mean, not Angela, I'm sorry, Geo. Geo is terrified that one day she's going to wake up and, you know, Calvin's just going to be standing over her bed with a knife or something. So the book, it just goes, like I said, it's back and forth. It's not a very long book. It goes really fast. If you like a fast-paced, dark, there are some dark things that happen in this book, but it is really good. I enjoyed it. It matches well with my wine, although it could withstand the heaviness of a Pinot. But all in all, great book, great book. I would wholeheartedly recommend it. Now, the next book, oh my God, it is called Bloom by Delilah S. Dawson. My goodness. Now, again, talking about the friends in my head, Carly from the Pastel Bookshelf is a friend in my head because she says so many of the things that I think about books and about reading and about reviewing. And this is a book that she absolutely loves. She gave it 5 stars. I mean, you know, 2 thumbs up. If you remember the old Roger Ebert, never mind. Oh, got an old people flashback. But anyway, Delilah S. Dawson has written this book about Rosemary and Ash, Ro and Ash. Ro moves to a small, I believe, Georgia town where there's a university, and she is a professor. So she's a very intelligent woman. She just got out of a really nasty breakup. I want to say that she was living in New York with her dude, and then things went horribly awry. So she is licking her wounds at this small college, trying to get her life back on course. And in the course of doing so, she goes to a farmer's market, and that is where she meets Ash. And Ash is this ethereal person, who just lights up when you talk to her, and everything that you say, she makes it feel special. And Ro finds herself being attracted to this woman in a way that she's never been attracted before. And Ash uses that to her advantage, pulling Ro in with her sumptuous cupcakes and her delightfully gorgeous plants, and her lovingly made handmade soaps. So she crafts everything, and she just seems like a force of nature in a way that Ro is just very unfamiliar with. So the two of them get closer and closer. Ro can't keep herself away from the farmer's market, and she's going every week. And every week, Ash is doing something special for her, and just really making her feel special. However, along the way, there are signs, but the attention feels so good that Ro decides to ignore it. All I'm going to tell you is this: prepare to reread the last chapter and then just stare blankly at a wall, because you're going to need a minute. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Now, another series. I love book series. I love police procedurals. I love, cops who are on the hunt for the bad guys. I am someone who really likes the resolution of the bad guy getting caught. I know it's popular to write about these morally gray characters like an S.A. Cosby, but I don't like that. I got halfway through that. I can't even remember the name of it. The Ashes book by S.A. Cosby, and I had to put that down. It just was not for me. I didn't like any of those characters. That is not the case with the Washington Post series. The series, even though it's very fast-paced and the plots are so twisty, you just aren't going to figure them out. But it is still manages to be a character-driven series. Washington Poe is with the, what is it called? The National Crime Agency, and Tilly Bradshaw is a brilliant analyst who works with Poe. I won't say she assists him because she is nobody's assistant, but they work together. And, since Poe is the investigator, he takes the lead. And I've read, there are several books. Because I'm me, I couldn't start at the first book or the second book. I had to start at the third book, which is The Curator. That drives my sister and my daughter insane. Why can't you just start with the first book? Why can't you go in order? Because I don't have to. I'm an adult with free will, and I will read these books in whatever order I wish. So that's that. The Curator, book number 3, follows Poe and Tilly as they are on the trail of someone who is leaving body parts all over Cumbria. When they're called in to investigate, they're faced with a case that makes no sense. Why were the victims killed in such different ways? Why is their suspect denying what they can irrefutably prove, but admitting to things they weren't even aware of? And what could the cryptic message left by each scene, hashtag BSC 600. I'm sorry, BSC 600. What could that possibly mean? Poe and Tilly, who gives neurodivergent vibes, in the best possible way, are a dynamic duo whose affection toward each other grows, but in a totally big brother, big sister way. So there isn't that weird thing of, are we just waiting for them to get together? Because that's not what we're doing. But The Curator is such a great book. It's so cleverly plotted. It's so, it just really taps into the Poe and Tilly relationship. They are hilarious because of just the things that Tilly will just come right out and say. She has no filter. She's gonna say what she's gonna say. But at the same time, I mean, she is a brilliant woman, and but she is very socially awkward. She doesn't thrive in social environments. And that's where Poe steps in to sort of help navigate her, as she steps in to sort of redirect him when he is thinking about a case one way, but her mind has calculated another. So the second book in that series is called Dead Ground. And again, this series is by M.W. Craven. And it's just like The Curator, it's very twisty turny, but it's more political. It has more shadowy government character vibes than The Botanist. I liked it. I mean, as The Curator, I liked it, but I didn't like it as much. Now, the next book that I read is called The Botanist, and that one also plays into the pathologist, Estelle Doyle, who loves to dress very provocatively while she is doing her postmortems, and she loves making Poe blush. So in this book, she finds herself in a world of trouble, and the only person she wants to reach out to is Poe. However, Poe is being pulled in another direction because there is this very cunning killer who is able to send out, we'll say, a calling card. So you know he's coming, you know it's on the way. The cops are protecting you. They have you isolated, and he still manages to kill you. Man, that is crazy. But that is exactly what happens. So the whole book is about Poe and Tilly trying to figure out, how is this person doing this? How is this happening? And again, a fun, wild, crazy ride. I loved it. You know, it's not necessarily a popcorn thriller because, again, just like The Curator and Dead Ground to a lesser extent. But The Botanist is very dark. It has some very dark themes. So with all books, if you have triggers, please check for the warnings. But it's a good ride. And yeah, so that one might be my favorite of the ones I've read. And Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney is my first Alice Feeney book. Unless you've been under a rock or have not been out on those internet streets, you've probably heard of Alice Feeney. Her books are best-selling, they top charts. People love them or hate them or love to hate on them, however you want to say it. So Rock, Paper, Scissors was my first foray into an Alice Feeney book. And I can tell you that it too is dark and twisty. The point of view, well, the story, I'll tell you that first. The story follows Amelia and I want to say Alice, and that's not right. Amelia and Adam. They are a married couple whose relationship is really on the rocks. And they not wind up. Amelia wins a trip to a remote part of Scotland, and they decide to go and give their relationship one last shot in the arm. So they go to this place that is very, very remote. Cell phone coverage is very spotty. And from the moment they arrive, the strangeness begins. You know, the hackles on the back of your neck stand up, and everything about it is saying, get out. But you know, they don't. For some reason, they persevere. So it's not a cabin. It's actually, I believe, a restored church that they're in. And the story it alternates between Adam and Amelia, and it just goes back and forth. And I can truly say that I did not see that ending coming. I mean, you know, there were some things that I saw, oh yeah, I know what this is, and oh, I bet I know what's, you know, where. But when you get to the point of that turn where you begin to understand why everything that happened, it's like, whoop, whoop. I felt like the Roadrunner had run by, tweaked my nose, and sipped out of my wine glass. It was crazy. It was crazy time. So I really liked it. I know there are some people who read it, they liked it. Some people who hated it. It's on the top of this list, it's on the bottom of this list. I don't know. As you all know, I don't really number my books, but I will say that you know, this was top notch to me. It was one of those books where, again, much like Bloom, when I got to the end, I had to go back and read a couple of chapters over. And even talking about it now, I feel like I want to just go reread the whole book because, man, I got some questions. So anyway, that is my talk for the evening. Thank you so much for being here. If you've got any questions that you want to ask me about books, about writing, I loved all of these books. If I was going to emulate the style of, I was going to steal, there are bits and pieces of all of these that I would like to employ in my own writing. Basically, well, I can't touch Bloom. Delilah S. Dawson, you're in a spot all by yourself. I'm not even aspiring to that. However, some aspects of Washington Poe, I think, could be adapted. Some of the ideas of how to keep that pace going, and what keeps me turning the page. I've read a lot of his on my iPad and my Kindle app, and I love using that app, my Kindle Unlimited, basically because with my lupus and my little fingers, my little piggies get all puffy in the evening, and it's hard for me to hold a regular book. Now, you know, I still do, but sometimes it gets really difficult. So when I have my tablet, you know, I can just swipe, and it's all good. So I have gotten some elements that I want to try to employ. Rock, paper, scissors, Alice Feeney, I think you're like Bloom. What you do, girl, you be you. I don't see a way where I am going to bring that into what I do in a authentic or organic way. And that's the thing about emulating other authors, because you want to emulate but never duplicate. You don't want to try to copy somebody's style. You just want to learn from it and figure out what about it attracted you and what makes you want to carry that forward in what you do. So that is that. I was so happy to have you guys here. I can't believe I'm done. It's over. Hooray. All right. Oh my God, I'm so sorry that I just did a raise the roof. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna go and drink this wine and read my book and just relax. And I hope you do the same. Love you and see you in the bookstore. Bye-bye.